I host this national radio show on Sirius XM. So you can imagine, well, maybe you can't, but I get pitched all the time. Everybody's always trying to sell me something. And most of these pitches I delete out of hand because they're just not my thing. I almost deleted this one. And then I thought, wait a sec. It was about partnerships between fintech, financial technology companies, and banks. And I thought, what is the point of all that for you and me as users of these services, as players with these products? How does it matter to me? So I decided we would have this conversation. Our guest is Ankita Dmello. She is principal product manager at Wise, and she's here to talk about what these partnerships are and what they mean. She joins us today from New York City. Hello there.
Hi, how's it going?
I am well. I'm sure you haven't had an introduction quite like that. Like, I hate this idea, but we're talking about it anyway. Uh, Set the scene for us as Canadians. Wise is not a big brand that everybody is going to know. What does the company do? Where does it fit in? I'm going to use a cliche word here. Where does it fit within the financial services ecosystem?
Cool, awesome. So I can talk to you about that. So maybe I'll just start off with like what is Wise for those of you who don't know
Yeah.
what it is. So Wise is a global technology company, and what we're really doing is we're building the best way to move and manage money abroad, right? And so, how does that actually fit into the ecosystem? What does it mean for Canadian customers? What we're really trying to help customers do is if you have a need to send money abroad, if you have a need to spend money abroad or to receive money from abroad, we are there for you. And we are trying to make it really simple for you to do that. And the ways in which we do that are we really try to focus on making all of these things that I just talked about as instant as possible. So you get your money or you send your money in under 20 seconds. We try to make it as cheap as possible and as easy for you to use. So Wise has a number of different products that we use, and I can talk to you about those in a second, but hopefully that explains a little bit
Yeah.
about what Wise is.
So the brand that people probably would be familiar with is Western Union. How is
Mhm.
Wise similar to and different from? Is it that Western Union had a physical presence, whereas Wise was born as a fintech?
Yeah, precisely that. So in a lot of places, you'll actually see like, Western Union posters, and you can like go to a store and you can actually fund a transfer with cash. You can even pick up money via Western Union. With Wise, everything is digital. So you can go on wise.com or you can download our apps.
Right.
And the way in which you use us is everything is online.
Gotcha. Okay. So make the case for
Mhm.
why I should care even a little bit about partnerships between
Mhm.
the company you love and
Mhm.
the institutions that Canadians know and have known for generations.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the longest time, Wise has been on this mission of we want to make customers have the best experience of sending money abroad, and we are the go to institution for you to use if you have that need. But think about it on a practical level, right? Like, how many customers are you actually going to get to come to Wise, sign up to Wise, use Wise to do everything when they've already got bank accounts at a number of different places? Like, why wouldn't they just send their money there? Their money's already there. And it was at that moment where we actually realized instead of getting every single customer to come to Wise, why don't we just go to where they are? And that was really where this birth of what we call Wise Platform was born. And Wise Platform might not mean anything to you or to any other customer out there, but all it means is that we are bringing Wise to you. So if you bank with, let's say, BMO or with Scotiabank or with something like that, right? So instead of trying to figure out how to get that customer to come to Wise, our goal and our aspiration is to bring Wise to all of these different banks and to figure out how can they actually start to utilize our rails so that their customers can send money without having to come directly to us. So
Mm.
we do this already today. We have a number of global banking partners that we're actually live with. So we do this with Morgan Stanley, with Standard Chartered Bank, and even with EQ Bank in Canada today.
Got it. So with EQ Bank, if I had a bank account there and I wanted to send some money somewhere, it would be super easy. But if I had
Mhm.
an account with one of the other big five, I would have to do it in another way. Correct?
Exactly,
Got
exactly.
it.
So you would have to come to wise.com and use us in that way.
Or would there be something that the bank already has internally that would enable me to do it? I wouldn't even have to go to Wise.
Yeah, so there are banks who have the ability to send money abroad, right? Like it's not that that ability doesn't exist. It's just that that's the reason why Wise was actually built. It's because the way that you actually send money abroad with a bank is through Swift. And Swift is slow, it's expensive, and often what we see is that banks don't actually use the mid-market exchange rate. So what you end up with is you send a chunk of money and you get way less on the other side.
Mm,
And that's really why Wise was born. It was like, hey, how do we help customers see these hidden fees? How do we help customers move away from this
mm.
model that's frankly quite broken, and be able to send money transparently and get more on the other side?
Now, I can see why EQ Bank would work with you. They're a challenger bank. They're
Mhm.
innovating upside down and left and right.
Mhm.
Canada has an oligopoly. We've got five big banks. And when you say the model is broken, it may be broken for the consumer, but it isn't necessarily broken for the bank because they
Yeah.
can continue to get really strong margin. Why
Mhm.
on earth would any of the big five return your phone call?
Oh, that's a great question. And honestly, yeah, it's tough. It's not been an easy journey to get every big bank to work with us, and it's something that we're chipping away at slowly. Now, what's in it for them? Why would they want to work with us? So the big one is we are probably now one of the most regulated financial institutions in the world. What does that even mean? We have 65 licenses, I think, across the board. We have a number of direct rails, I think six direct rails. And what that really means is for the last decade or so, we have built the infrastructure to operate in so many different markets across the globe. Which one of these banks in Canada is going to spend a decade doing that legwork,
Right.
right? So that's what we're trying to sell here is, hey, we've done the hard work for you. Um, and so really what we want to bring to you is this infrastructure that you can then leverage and give to your
Mm.
customers. It's not just
Anytime we have a conversation about fintechs here, one of the
Mhm.
key topics that comes to the top of the list very quickly is open banking.
Mhm.
Where does money transfers globally fit within this broad global move towards open
Mhm.
banking, an area, by the way, in which Canada sorely lags?
Yeah. So this is something that Wise is also very passionate about. And in the markets where we have seen, and something that we've lobbied for actually in several markets too. And so where open banking has come to fruition, Wise has actually actively participated in that and often become a direct partner in that open banking platform. So we have done this in the UK, we've done this in Singapore, we've done this in Australia, we've done this in Hungary. And so really we are becoming a part of that too. So whether that's in Canada or whether that's in other markets, Wise is actually very actively part of that messaging and that push for saying, hey, you should get open banking and we want to facilitate that and we want to be part of that and we can actually help you get there. So I think that's Wise's stance
Mm.
on it. And it would very much mean that we would be a part of it, or that the hope is we'd be a part of it.
If you were to do a simple apples to apples comparison on the fees or currency conversion costs on, say, $1,000 that I'm sending back to my country of origin every single month, what would
Mhm.
be the difference between using Wise and using Swift through my bank, through my main bank?
Yeah. So on average, so Wise charges about 0.56% as our fee. And so that's based on the transaction amount. An industry average that you would probably get in your bank is anywhere between 3 to 5%. So in the
It's an
worst
order of magnitude
scenario,
difference.
yeah, it's a big difference. Like in the worst case scenario, you could be paying up to 10x more. And that's really why we're so passionate about our transparency messaging across the board, and why we like to tell customers all the fees. Sometimes it can be overkill, we're like, hey, these are all the fees we're charging you. But in our head, it's like, hey, this is the right thing to do. We want to be upfront and tell you that this is what we're charging you.
I can imagine culturally that's a really hard thing for the legacy banks in Canada to hear because they don't really want to talk about fees.
No, no, it's been I mean, even in my journey at Wise and, in the last 5 years, I think one thing that I've truly loved about Wise is how much we've pushed that transparency messaging, and how we've tried super hard not to back down, even in situations where we really could have, maybe just to sign something or maybe just to go ahead. I think we've stayed really true and honest to our principles. And that's really helped to reinforce that message across markets, that it's not okay to hide your fees. And we we really want to work with partners who are aligned on that principle.
Really interesting stuff. Ankita, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Ankita Dmello, Principal Product Manager at Wise, she was invited with a tough task, and that was to make sure that we had a conversation in which the value of fintech and bank partnerships were illuminated, and I would give her a thumbs up on that.